You're listening to the Dennis Prager Show. All righty, my friends. About once a season, literally, we feature a hand-picked charity. This one is really hand-picked. Actually, they hand-picked me, and then I hand-picked them. Rock of Africa. I went with them to Zimbabwe and Zambia to see the work that they do. I am enamored of them. They are remarkably good people doing remarkably good work in a remarkably poor area. The head of it is Glen Megill. He is here. Let me tell you right now, in case you heard me speak about this last hour, the number is 800-347-1323. And I mean what I'm about to say, I actually mean, of course, I always mean what I say, but I mean this one. It is not just a nice sentence. With all the bad news that might exist, the thing that will help you out of it the most is doing something kind. I'm telling you, it is an antidote. It is an antidote to the doldrums. Call 800-347-1323, rockofafrica.org on the internet. It's all up at DennisPrager.com. And 3 families, $90. And I mean it. I saw 3 families get the seed and the mosquito nets. And so did this following man. We'll get to Glen Megill in a moment. Shmuley Boteach, the famous rabbi of Shalom in the Home. You and I went with one of our kids, and Shmuley's a very busy guy, donating his time. We all donated our time. Glen Megill donates his whole life. Shmuley, what would you say about Rock of Africa?
First of all, I thought you were going to say the famously good-looking rabbi on Shalom in the Home.
I meant to. I'm so sorry. It goes without saying.
First of all, Dennis, it's a pleasure to be on your show again. And you always use your media profile to highlight good causes. And yes, this is an incredible cause. You and I went together to Victoria Falls, Zimbabwe, and later to the capital city to participate as volunteers around Thanksgiving for Rock of Africa. And the stuff that I saw and the stuff that you witnessed, and each of us brought one of our children, was life-transforming because we saw how such a tiny investment, like $30, $40, can rescue an entire family. They use the seed to grow corn, which in turn is transformed into shima, which is a Central African staple. It's very high in carbs, so that it's quite fulfilling. And it can literally rescue a family. And there's no question, Dennis, that you and I felt incredibly purposeful. But I'll tell you, what made it so special to me is that Glen has American volunteers who live in Zimbabwe. This is the poorest country on earth, literally. It's also one of the most oppressed. It's being brutalized by a terrible dictator, by Robert Mugabe, for 3 decades already. The world allows him to slaughter and brutalize his people with impunity. And it's only organizations like Glen's who have volunteers who agree to live in this kind of persecutorial environment, followed by the secret police, just so that they can rescue families from starvation. That's what we're talking about. We're not talking about giving them electricity. We're not talking about giving them a car. We're talking about giving them food without which they will starve.
Yep, and a mosquito net so that they don't get killed by malaria. Tell people why you, as an Orthodox rabbi, would support an organization that is ultimately animated, of course, by believing Christians.
Evangelical Christians who love God, who are the most patriotic Americans, who are some of the finest, most stalwart supporters of Israel, but who also do the most incredible humanitarian work around the world. They are my brothers under God. We may have different faiths, but we share a common soul, and we share a common purpose. Glen is one of my closest friends. Whenever he's in the New York area, he stays at our home. He is a Christian of phenomenal piety. He is a man of huge heart. I also traveled with him to Haiti 3 weeks after the election. And let me just also say that Wycliffe Jean, who's now announced that he's going to be running for president of Haiti, is a good friend of mine, and I want to do more work in Haiti. All of that was also because Glen, we all decided to go to Haiti together. This has nothing to do with what one's faith is, Dennis, because ultimately one's faith is demonstrated in one's actions. There's a lot of religious charlatans around. They talk a good game, but they never walk the walk. Glen could not be more different. The people of Rock of Africa could not be more different. As an Orthodox Jew, I was absolutely uplifted and inspired by their Christian faith. As an Orthodox Jew, I deepened my association with Judaism through watching them being moved and motivated to save human life because of their Christianity. The fact is that religions can learn so much from each other, but what they all share in common, I believe, is the Jewish concept, because Christianity's foundations, of course, are Jewish, the Jewish concept of a mitzvah, that a single good deed can change the world for the better. So, Dennis, when you and I went to a mud hut village, where people don't have electricity, where the only electrical appliance in the entire village was a cell phone that the chief has, that he has to walk 4 miles to charge in a school. Right. And they have to walk 1.5 miles to get water from the well, 1.5 miles. And you and I went into a mud hut of an elderly man named Mr. Who, that's his nickname, who died a few months ago. We saw the putrid, foul stench because he was dying, and these people don't have medical supplies. And Glen's people are angels of God. They are angels of mercy. They are saving this village. And I saw, Dennis, that a $30 investment, or an for seed, or an $8 investment for a mosquito net can save a life. I mean, I've rarely seen the Jewish concept of a mitzvah, of a good deed, of a godly act, being able to sway an entire village for the good. And let me just say one final thing on that subject, Dennis. When you and I went to Mr. Hu's house, and when we saw that he was being taken care of, this dying elderly man, by his 11-year-old grandson, because the middle generation in that village have all been wiped out by AIDS. So this boy was an orphan. This boy had no mosquito net. He was taking care of his grandfather. His body was being eaten alive by mosquitoes every single night, and it costs $8 to remedy that.
Well, God bless you, Shmuley. I just assent to every word he said. Glen Megill is here with me. Normally we have the person speak of his organization, but so many of us know how great you and your work are that we're talking about you this time. We'll have you talk, Glen, I promise.
Thank you.
No, I folks, you hear in my voice, hear it in Shmuley's, and I'm telling you, it's an antidote to feeling lousy. It is. $30 does a family. This is the truth. That's exactly right. I 1,500 is is what? Am I right? 5?
1,500 is 50.
50 families. God, is that pathetic? That is pathetic.
$1,500.
Yeah, 1,500 is 50 families.
Just imagine.
It's all tax deductible. Rock of Africa, 800-347-1323. The number and the website are up at DennisPrager.com. Please call now. I'm telling you, you'll feel better. And this is how we're going to make the world better, one by one, through places like Rock of Africa, 800-347-1323. $30 is a family, 50 families, 1,500. You're listening to The Dennis Prager Show.